Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for another RIP tournament match. Back when RIP entered the Advanced Wars Smacky Cup, which is a fog tournament, which should be right up his alley, I floated the idea that we'd follow him through the entire tournament and see how far he can get. And a lot of people seem to think that was a really cool idea. So I'm happy to announce that today, RIP's second match just concluded, and I was following it. So we're going to be taking a look at it and see how it went. So this is the turn where I was knocked out, the second round. I'm not super good in fog. I entered the tournament, but I knew I wasn't going to get super far. And this map gave me quite a lot of headache. It is, I think it's made by Reimer. Yeah, Nightmare of Haikyuu. That's his ult, by the way. His #1 fog-rated ult. This is a very, very complicated map with pre-deployed cruisers, pre-deployed black boats, very exposed comm towers, contested properties. It's also only 2 base, which is really weird. He also has 2 airports, but one is like really hard to get. So this is a wacky map, and I guess it's going to be interesting to see how RIP tackles this. Now, we have a Sasha mirror here, and I was actually kind of validated to see this because I chose Sasha too. I just thought she'd be really strong here because there's a lot of properties, and you also have harbors, which are very exposed, which allows you to go for some cool battleship plays, and I think Sasha's extra economy helps her with that. Now, Sasha mirrors are interesting because it's pretty much just both players pressing their buttons in a desperate attempt to get their powers out, because the Sasha players just keep cock-blocking each other. Whoever can get their market crash out first is usually in a very good spot, but because of the way the powers work, they usually swing back and forth, so you do tend to, both players do tend to get to fire off some market crashes, but often they tend to be like mid-turn market crashes because you don't really want to be saving power charge against a fellow Sasha. So it's going to be a very interesting matchup for sure. Of course, RIP needs no introduction. The best fog player in the world. I don't think there's any dispute about that. I do expect him to win this entire tournament, but there are some absolute monsters in his bracket, so we're gonna absolutely see how this goes. First though, let's take a look at his match against Regu. First time I see this player right here. Regu, strong player, almost 1500 MMR. So one of those kind of anonymous accounts that doesn't really, that doesn't seem to get much recognition despite being an insanely good player. Once you reach this level of MMR, I think you are easily in like the top 1% of Advanced Wars players. So definitely an elite player here. Let's see how he does against RIP. RIP is of course a very, very scary player, especially in a tournament format. So ladies and gentlemen, I say we get going. So RIP is up in the top right trunks here in his trademark brown desert colors, and Grey Goo is down here in the blue trunks as Sasha. I think I actually changed his color a little bit. So yeah, only 2 base for this map. So Sasha is usually good because she can spam vehicles. So she's going to be relying a lot more on battlecopters in this map since you have 2 airports. You want to build a lot of battlecopters to get your unit count up. There are, as I said, these like pre-deployed cruisers right here which can't move, but they can scout. So you want to take them down pretty quickly with an artillery if you can. Battlecopters can take them out too. I mean, in case you don't know how bad cruisers are, let me just show you, okay? So just for accuracy, we're gonna go Sasha. I guess it doesn't really matter though. But I mean, just look at this. I'm gonna select the cruiser. Look at this, 49 to 57% damage from a battlecopter, despite the fact that the cruiser is in a reef, which gives it this defense. Yeah, it's pretty bad. If we add on a comm tower on top of that, it starts to look really bad for the cruiser, maybe even a power. It's very sad. They fixed the cruisers in Days of Ruin. There has actually been a petition, I believe, or petition. Jay Talkwin made a video begging Walter to buff, I just call him Walker, to buff cruisers. To buff cruisers to like their, I don't think they were, I'm not actually sure if cruisers got buffed in Dual Strike. I think they got buffed a little bit, but it was Days of Ruin that really decided to take cruisers to the next level by actually making it so that I think air units do like 5 or 10% damage versus them, so they're actually really competent anti-air units now. So I really wish Advanced Wars would do the same. Not that it would ever make cruisers be built, but it would still be nice to see. So anyway, both players just moving out, capturing properties, nothing much insane to see here. Grey Goo opening APC against RIP here. I wonder if he did this because I'm not really sure how big my reach is in like the top echelons of the Advanced Wars community. But Rip is known for building transports. That is something that he does very frequently. And I can't help but think that his opponents, knowing that, are more likely to also go transports versus Rip, because they think he will go transports. So, opening transports against Rip is of course a very daring move, because it means that you are now putting yourself on equal footing against Rip instead of being a vehicle ahead. So it's gonna be just, let's see what Rip does. Let's see if Rip goes his trademark T-Copter opener, or if he goes for a more aggressive playstyle. Already using the pre-deployed black boat to boost this infantry forward, you like to see it. No, he had the money for a T-Copter, but he didn't build it. He actually is saving up money. So it could be that right now that Rip is attempting to go hyper-aggressive in this map, which would actually be devastating if his opponent goes the transport first. Rip, of course, is usually skilled enough to get away with transport first, but if Rip now decides to really put on the gas and just go vehicles, then his opponent is going to be in a heap of trouble, I think. So maybe Rip is playing some mind game strike here. He knows that now he's now known as the transport player, so now he's going to shift his playstyle and go hyper aggressive. And that actually does seem to be what he's doing. He's building a tank. Let's see if he continues to build tanks. I mean, at the moment, I really can't see Rip going a transport at this point, because now he really shouldn't. But let's see what he does. Maybe he builds a tank. If he wanted to build one, he'd build it already, I think. So again, liking this black boat play right here. Yeah, look at that. Recon double tank. Rip is just going hard now. And his opponent is not going to be down. Down a vehicle against Rip is scary, man. That's never a place you want to be in. So the only thing that Grey Goo can hope for right now is that APC will give him an eco boost, and that he may be able to equalize. If Rip goes hyper-aggressive from the start right now, I think this is going to be tough. Although, Rip is a patient player for the most part. He doesn't tend to win super quickly. He's okay with, like, dragging the match out to, like, day 20, day 25. He doesn't tend to win in, like, spectacular... Oh, double recon from Rip. Oh, boy. Yeah, I do think that this is a good choice, because if you look at this map, do you notice the absence of a certain terrain? Or, not absence, but in the center, there's no mountains. The only mountains I see is here and here. There are no mountains in the center of this map, which means that you have to build recons to scout. So Rip opening up 3 recons in the early goings of the game right here. D just would be soiling his pants right now. He would love this. 2 tanks out of Grey Goo. Obviously, you need to keep that vehicle count high. Rip moving out now, going for the comm tower. Moving out his recons to scout. This black boat is pretty cool because you can use it to scout when your opponent takes the comm tower. Since black boats have 1 vision, but you can still see. You also have vision on this lab right here. This lab is not the only lab on the map, if I remember correctly. Isn't there also another... Or is it? No. Both players have 2 labs. 1 here, 1 here, then 1 here, 1 here. Labs will work as HQs in the absence of HQs, so you need to capture both labs to win, which is not very likely to happen on this map. Day 9 rolls in. Still in the capture phase of the game, but that is about to end in a few turns right now. You do want to get an artillery out at some point to deal with this cruiser, because you really don't want to give your opponent vision. So that's exactly what Grey Goo is doing, building an artillery. He's going to moving it out here and take out the cruiser. One kind of annoying aspect of this pre-deployed cruiser is that your opponent will get a lot of power charge. Of course, with Sasha, you can prevent that with a market crash, but I think, yeah, my opponent was Von Bolt on this map, so what I did was I destroyed the cruiser and then I just popped market crash immediately to make sure that he didn't get any power charge out of it. But very strong if you're going up against someone like Hawk, for example, and your opponent is not Sasha. Then Hawk does get a lot of free power charge from that cruiser, which helps him quite a lot, because Hawk's power is so good. So I think Hawk would have been a viable pick on this, but I think maybe people feared Sasha. So Grey Goo now decides to go on the offensive, takes a shot against Rip's infantry. There is no way to punish this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, this is actually just a free hit. Of course, now Rip can punish it, and he has vehicles on the way right now, so Grey Goo shouldn't get too out of himself. Battlecopter Anti coming out right here. In this battle, you are kind of forced to do battle on 2 fronts because there's so many properties to pick up here. So but it seems like Grego is pushing on this side right now. So both players up to 20k income right now. Capture limit is 32. That's never gonna happen. Attacks the cruiser. That's cute. You can slowly whittle that thing down. I mean, I guess if it's a 9 HP, it's easier to take down with the battlecopters. I guess it's not too bad. So it looks like Rip is preparing for an attack on this side as well, building a lot of battlecopters. You gotta build... The problem I have with maps that have 2 bases and 2 airports is that you have to build so many anti-air to keep up with the battlecopters. So if I was Grego here, I'd be really cautious about attacking in here. I'd be very careful, and he is moving most of his forces over here. He's going for some pretty ballsy caps, though. I think Rip is going to punish this. Keep in mind, Grego is a vehicle behind. Taking up the Neotank, I love this. I think this is not done enough in Fog. Deegis and I talked about this during the Grandmaster tournament, that we really would have wanted to see players tech up more, especially, I mean, this is always not a live game, but generally speaking in Fog, teching up is very strong because your opponent don't see it. If you suddenly come out with a Neotank and they don't even have medium tanks on the field, it is a really nasty surprise. And yeah, as I thought, Rip is punishing this. He's not going to just sit back and let Grego take all these properties. He's content with damaging instead of finishing off units for the time being. And he is actually softening up this cruiser, and I think he's going to prepare to take it out. I actually kind of like this. Rip didn't really want to bother building artillery, so instead he just used his tank to soften up the cruiser. And then he can use his battlecopter to kill it once it's low enough. So I actually really like this play by Rip. I don't really think artillery are that strong on this map because it's relatively open. It doesn't look open, but all these water tiles are actually shoal tiles. It is actually wide open. So I think Rip is doing good and not... okay, never mind. He just built an artillery. Just as I say that Rip doesn't want artillery, he builds an artillery. I guess I need to shut up. So, okay. I think he was counting the tiles there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He knows that the anti-air is not going to come in this turn. But he doesn't know that Rip has 2 battlecopters here. Oh, he's overextending. This is, I bet he felt really good about this. Now he can also pop Market Crash to prevent Rip's, So he needs to pop Market Crash this turn, I think, if he wants to prevent Rip. Come on, pop Market Crash. There you go. Strong attack by Grego, for sure. If I was Grego, I'd be feeling very good about this attack. Because not only did he take out a bunch of Rip's units, but he also popped his Market Crash. So he prevented the 10-10 from Rip next turn. It's actually a very strong attack here, I'd say. He's taken out a lot of units. This is looking very good for Grego. But of course, he's not up against anyone. He's up against Rip. And here comes the counterattack. Recon comes in. Battlecopter. And I think Grego may not have enough anti-air to deal. There are 3 battlecopters here from Rip with a 4th one on the way. And Grego has a single anti-air. Ooh, here comes the battlecopter. Ooh, that is a strong counterattack from Rip right here. Anti-air comes in, battlecopter, tank, artillery, infantry coming in as well here. Rip is just... neither player is really caring much about this corner of the map right now. Day 13. That was a powerful counterattack from Rip, and Rip almost has his power now. In comes the APC from Grego. Yeah, that anti-air is gonna die, and you need more anti-air, my man. Oof. Oh, I think this is gonna be a slaughter. Look how much... is Grego... he's just not able to get the Market Crash, I think. No, he's so close to getting it. The Neotank is coming in, which is good, but I think it's gonna come in a turn too late. Oh boy. So now Rip has his Market Crash, and he can pop it to get the 10-10 if he wants to, but he's gonna get some power charge first, I think. Ooh, here comes the anti-air. Here comes the battlecopters, and he pops a mid-turn Market Crash to get the boosts. And this is gonna hurt for Grego, I think. Recon attacks the artillery. Battlecopter against the tank. Oh, this is just a massacre. Rip coming in strong. There is a Neotank coming in, but Rip has his artillery arriving at exactly the perfect moment. The only way to counter a Neotank, unless you have a bomber or another Neotank, is by an artillery. That is the only way you can do it. So here comes the Neo Tank, and it is a strong Neo Tank. Rip doesn't even have a medium tank on the field. Even Battlecopters, by the way, don't really deal that well with Neo Tanks. In case you're thinking he can just use a Battlecopter. Look at this. 16 to 23. And the Neo Tank does like 2 HP back, so it's not really viable. But Gregu now is mobilizing around his Neo Tank. It's a question right now, and he pops this a mid-turn Market Crash. Keep in mind, Market Crash, even though your opponent has popped their power, it will still actually reduce power that you've built up. So even if your opponent is in the midst of a power, you can still pop a Market Crash to prevent future Market Crashes. So far, both players are actually pretty equal. They're equal in value. Gregu is ahead of property, and their unit count is also comparable, but it is Rip's turn. Let's see what he does. So I think, yeah, now he's probably pulling back because he sees the Neo Tank, so he knows he can't attack into that. So he kills the cruiser. He just mops up the stragglers, but he doesn't pull back completely because he does have an artillery, but you can see he's very careful with the artillery. He doesn't put it forward. He knows he can't lose it. He uses his Battlecopters to guard it. So very strong defense from Rip right here, and looks like he did actually build a T-Copter after all. He just built it on day 15. So now Gregu is probably feeling pretty confident. He sees the artillery, which is good. And there's very little Rip can do about that Neo Tank at the moment. So both players are just balling up right here. Gregu is actually sending a tank. He doesn't even get it down to 9 HP, but he's starting to attack the cruiser for some reason. Rip is taking the lab, which is kind of funny. But unless he takes this lab, he's not going to win. The lab does count for tie breaks, though. So if the match, I think the tournament maps have a day limit of 35. Yeah, 35 day limit. So taking the lab is not terrible. It will break a tie. Of course, Gregu is ahead of property, so he will win now if the match goes to 35 days. But yeah, probably won't happen. And Rip now is coming in with the anti-air. And even taking a couple. This is what I'm talking about. Battlecopter is not amazing. It's still a cost-effective engagement, and if you have multiple, you can whittle it down like Rip is doing, and that is exactly what he's doing. He's whittling down with three Battlecopters. Mid-turn Market Crash. Rip is going for it right now. Oh, you gotta love it. Using the Battlecopter, or using the Black Boat to heal his, or using the Black Boat to heal the Battlecopter. You love to see it. Day 18, or sorry, day 16. Rip is really putting the pressure on. Gregu does have some nice anti-airs though. He actually gets to take out 3 Battlecopters this turn, which this is a good counterattack. So Gregu is playing really well considering he's up against Rip right now. He's giving him a fight. It's definitely not like a one-sided massacre here. Gregu is playing very solidly. I think trying to go for this cruiser was a mistake, though. Just ignore it at this point. More Battlecopters and tanks coming out. We're in day 17. There's not, like, super clear winner. Rip comes in with his recons. The Battlecopter massacre continues right here, but now he's going to target fire the anti-air, and that's a big problem for Gregu, because now he really... Oh, what a sack. Now he really doesn't have a good way, and look at this, Rip even taking tank engagements, pops a mid-turn Market Crash. It's not quite enough though, but he's still going to get that 10-10, and look at this, perfect position for his artillery right here in this woods. Perfectly covers his entire army. T-Copter now transporting units forward. It's not Rip without a T-Copter, am I right? 2 Battlecopters, so many Battlecopters in this map, man. You really just have to pump out the anti-air. It's so hard to find the balance between building anti-air and vehicles. And Gregu has to retreat here a little bit. He really can't keep fighting this. Rip has anti-air and Battlecopters aplenty, so this is not going to work. So he pulls back, and look at that. He's saving up money. Rip is not, he's taking engagements, but he's not diving straight into the Lion's Maw. He's taking a property, he's inching forward. He wants to stay within the cover range of his artillery. Maybe move it down 1 spot, maybe? Nah, he's gonna keep it there. But Rip is focusing everything he has in this corner. He's keeping 1 infantry just to scout in case a cheeky little infantry tries to take his tower. Recon goes down. Grey Goo also takes out this infantry, bugs out, and goes behind the comm tower. This happens quite a lot with this. I don't know if it's my add-on or what it is. Grey Goo pops his market crash. It's actually going in pretty hard here. Sends his Neo tank away for some reason. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. The battleship. I love this move from Grey Goo. I think it's really solid. He takes a bunch of engagements and he backs it up with a battleship. The battleship can't really move much. It can go here, but it still covers pretty much every single one of his properties. It covers the tower. It doesn't cover this one, but it can move it to cover this one. It covers this one, this one. So what it needs to do now, after this engagement, is to pull away. So I do like this buy from Grey Goo. The problem is, though, you're just invested 28,000 in a unit that can't really follow the rest of your army. But what it means is that he will hold on to these properties, unless Rip captures multiple properties at once, which of course he can do. But I don't think Rip has seen the battleship yet, so he's actually going to keep attacking into this. And he still doesn't see the battleship. And he still doesn't see the battleship. He gets his market crash. And now he sees the battleship. But since he's already attacked with so many units, he might as well commit, because the battleship is going to fire anyway. He even gets a little cheeky capture here, but that's not going to work. But Rip is actually not letting up on this aggression right here. Maybe he's not that scared of the battleship, but this battleship will start to get very effective. Both players are now tied on income. Let's see what Grey Goo decides to do with this battleship. He attacks a tank. Kills the 1 HP tank. He's defending pretty well, but he is moving into Rip's artillery, though. He really doesn't want to let Rip get the comm tower. But I don't think it's good for Rip to keep attacking into this. I really don't. I think he has to pull back here. Battlecopter tank. Yeah, Rip's got to be careful now. But no, he doesn't want to let up. He sees too many good engagements, and look at this, using the black boat to sneak this property right here. Masterfully played by Rip. But I do think, yeah, at this point, I do think Rip is going to start pulling back, because he realizes every turn he attacks into this battleship, he's just going to incur more losses. So he is pulling back ever so slightly. And I'm impressed with Grey Goo here. I think Grey Goo is playing really well. He's clearly behind. If you look at the unit value, he is behind. But I think he's putting on a hell of a fight, considering it is against the best Fog player in the world, easily. So Grey Goo may be a player to watch out for in future tournaments and matches. So yeah, now the match has entered into a bit of a stall thanks to the battleship. Neither player really wants to attack each other right now, but Rip is shifting his focus right now. Rip also still has his cruiser. This is worth noting. The cruiser gives him a lot of vision in this area. The fact that Grey Goo didn't, like, use one of his artillery to kill Rip's cruiser, I think it's a testament to how much pressure Rip was putting on him, because he just didn't have time for it. You know, he didn't have time to divert a single unit to deal with the cruiser. But now Rip has a big advantage in that he has vision in this area, and Grey Goo does not. So this cruiser, it's pretty good. I mean, it has the same vision as a tank, and it also has the benefit. I mean, Rip can even use it for anti-air purposes. He can keep his battlecopter next to the cruiser, which is exactly what he's doing, so that if Grey Goo wants to come in and take battlecopter engagements, the cruiser will shoot him down. Let's not forget, even though the cruiser is really bad on the defense, it still has comparable offense to an anti-air, I think, roughly. Yeah, it has, I think it has similar, yeah, it has about similar offense to an anti-air, a little bit lower, 115 to the anti-air's 120. But it still one-shots battlecopters. So the fact that Rip has this cruiser is actually pretty damn impressive. And he's using his black boat to repair his battlecopters. I love to see it. And wow, look at that. Rip is like, okay, I'm going to attack in here, but I'm still going to capture two properties at once, so I'm going to get this one. And Grey Goo just resigns. Wow. That's pretty crazy, man. So, Rip takes up the win. I don't think anyone is surprised, but still gotta say, still a hell of a fight from Grey Goo. I think he should be very proud of his performance against Rip. I thought he played incredibly well, but again, man, it's Rip. Even playing well is not going to get you a win against this guy. So Rip will advance to the third round, and I figured we'd take a look at the brackets. So Rip is going to face the winner of Mauvus. I don't know who this guy is. Let me check his profile real quick. 1300. Toulouse is gonna probably win here because Toulouse is super strong. Toulouse won 2 tournaments in the past, by the way. So most likely, oh, I need to follow. You can follow the match before it starts, by the way. Cool little tip. So yeah, this is most likely. I'm obviously not gonna count the opponent out, but I'm pretty sure the winner of, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be facing Toulouse in round 3, which Toulouse has beaten Rip before, by the way. But this was before Rip's meteoric rise to fame. It was like just before he came on. He was still strong, but it was like before he beat Voice of Akasha, which I think was the match that really skyrocketed him. So that's going to be a good match for sure. I would not be surprised if Toulouse scores some, like Toulouse actually wins, because it is Fog, which I don't think Toulouse is as good as Fog as he is standard, but it's still Toulouse. So there's some absolutely crazy players in this tournament right here. Days of Plague. If Rip meets him, that's going to be really cool. Go 7. That's the one I think. I think Go 7 versus Rip is probably going to be the finale match. Because Go 7 is also one of those players that just almost never lose, especially in Fog. So I think we're going to see Rip versus Go 7 in the finale, and that's going to be a hell of a finale. And of course, making it to the finale doesn't mean you automatically win. There are divisions. So you actually don't automatically win. You get like you come into like a finale division with all the winners from the other divisions. Has to be like a round robin fight. So it's gonna be cool, ladies and gentlemen. We got some great matches ahead, and we're gonna keep following Rip through the tournament and see how he does. And my name is Mengs. Give a like and a comment and subscribe and all that good stuff for more Rip games. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.